I'm joined on the UK Drum Show official podcast by Jost Nickel. Yeah, how are you?
Yes, amazing. So where's the audience? I don't hear any claps or so. Uh, yeah, you're clapping.
Actually, that sounded more
Okay.
like sort of double stroke roll, didn't
Like da. Okay, yeah.
it?
Thank you for
uh,
having me. I love it already.
you're welcome. See you later. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for got off to a good start.
Yeah.
Listen, man, we are so excited to have you play at the UK Drum Show this year. Not only do we have you for one day, we've got you for two. On the 18th
Yes.
and 19th of October, you're going to be participating in Mike Johnston's Education Room. Now, how does performing in an environment like this differ to you for maybe doing a live show?
And maybe it's not so much the environment, it's more the topic that it's all about drums, and I get to choose all the songs I want to play, or I can also play a solo. So it's a different approach to drumming for me because it's not so much about making a band sound good. It's more about, making the playback sound good maybe, and also playing a nice solo. And then what I really enjoy is, which I normally don't do at gigs, is the talking to the audience part.
Mhm.
So, and also the teaching parts. And I'm always curious what questions do the people want to ask, and how the overall energy of the audience is. Uh, but
Mm,
I'm not concerned that these are mostly drummers, because I love drummers, and I love the nerd factor in it, and I'm
mm,
also a nerd. So it's really sometimes really nice to be able to talk to people without without having to choose a language that everybody can understand. Because in this environment, we can just use the proper terms for what we want to talk about, right? So that's a difference. Yeah.
Do you find that there's maybe more pressure at these sorts of events because everybody in the audience, they're going to be looking at you almost through a
Yeah.
magnifying glass and really kind of taking in your playing?
Um, well, the most of the pressure comes from myself. So I don't feel any pressure from the audience. And no, I think what I like most about listening to somebody play, it doesn't have to be a drummer, is how it feels. So,
Yes.
and um, there's no pressure on that, because it's not about what you play, it's more about how you play it.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I look at these events just the same. So I want to make what I play sound good in a way that it feels good. And
Hmm.
so that's my goal. And so it doesn't really depend if it's many notes or just few notes.
Mm.
But obviously, I'm I tend to play more in these events because I'm
Yes.
the only live musician on stage, of course. So
Yes.
I feel like it's okay, and also it's kind of the job.
Mm.
But I enjoy it. I enjoy, playing a little more, being a little more onto the drummer nerd side of things. I
Well,
enjoy that. Yeah.
you're a super respected drummer, composer, and educator, and you've kind of built this career that's been both artistically rich and commercially successful. What do
Thank
you
you.
think has been? You're welcome. Call it £10. No, I'm joking.
Do you also accept euros? I know you guys aren't in the EU anymore, right? Oh, forgot. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
We can't get into that.
Why not? It's fun. No, when I'm in the UK, it's okay. It's okay to make make jokes about the politics also. When I'm in the US, I can't do that. So I enjoy being in the UK and making jokes about Boris Johnson and stuff. Yeah. I'm sorry
There,
about that.
no, don't say sorry. There's so many things I will gladly talk to you about over a pint, and we'll do that on the
Okay.
18th and 19th of October. Um, I
Can I
have
also,
to.
if you have a pint, can I also have like a cup of tea? Because really, I don't like beer. I'm German and I don't like it.
You don't.
I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
sorry, but I
No,
drink tea, and that's kind of British too, so I
Okay,
guess.
all right. Well, that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll do that. You know, Brexit and cups of tea aside,
Yes.
what do you think is the secret to your longevity in your career so far?
Uh, mm, I'm not sure. I was always looking for things I really like. So when I was on a gig or on a tour that I didn't like, so I felt like, okay, I'm playing, like, let's say in Munich, and I know some people in Munich, but I don't want to call them because I don't really like the music. That was a very clear sign to me that I should leave that band or that project or not do another tour with them. So I always feel very comfortable with the stuff I do. Maybe that's one thing, and I never try to impress. It's always about, to me, it's always about trying to make an honest statement. So I guess
Yes.
everything you hear me say or do is really me. It's really an honest statement. I'm not trying to be anybody else. Of course, I tried to, or I was really intimidated by players when I was growing up because they were so good. And but at some point, I just felt comfortable with who I am. And
Yes.
it's really a cliche, but it's also true. So you can be the best version of yourself. That's all you really can do. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. So yeah, that's my thing. So now I'm perfectly fine if a really great player plays after me or before me, and I enjoy it. And of course, I'm still impressed. And sometimes I'm like, I can't do that shit. I would love to be able to do that, but I don't know how. Um,
Hmm.
that's one side of me. The curious side is always there, but in the end, I'm kind of okay with who I am.
Yes.
So
Do you
yeah,
find that when you're sitting behind the kit, there's almost an element of power in failing because you have to keep trying over and over again to get that, you know, to get that feel, to get that groove.
yeah. And when I practice, for sure, but when I play, I don't like failing. It's just nothing I like. I got to be honest. So sometimes you sit behind the kit and it feels great from the start, and sometimes you sit behind the kit and it feels like, okay, I need some time with you, baby, today because we don't
Mm.
get along from the start,
I know that.
Um, and so if I'm having this moment when I actually have to play, what I do is try to play really simple stuff, go back to how it feels, and then I know it'll come back, but it might not be there from the start. But then just I try to stay relaxed and calm, and then normally it works. But of course, I don't like making mistakes when I play.
No.
When you practice, that's okay, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't want to see people. I don't want to, yeah, make mistakes in front of people. But it's still, it is a part of the thing. You can't avoid that, especially
You,
when you take risks when you play. So yeah, I'd rather make mistakes and take risks than make no mistakes and be bored by myself.
so with that kind of theme in mind for the moment, what would your advice be to an aspiring drummer of any age, any ability that would love to progress in the world of drums in, you know, the way that you have?
Yeah, I think it's good to get inspired by other players, but if you
Hmm.
feel like it's intimidating what you see online, then stop watching so many videos, I guess, and really watch yourself, how you feel when you do these things when you watch other drummers or hear music. And if it makes you feel good, then that's a good path. But if it makes you feel bad, don't do that too much. It's okay to compare yourself to other players, but nowadays comparison is always to the whole world. And
Mm.
before all these videos, you had to compare yourself to the players you were listening to on albums, or maybe
Mm.
to the players you were playing in your city when you went to
Yes,
concerts.
and touring, yeah.
But now it's a lot harder because there's all this comparison which is forced upon you. And maybe if it makes doesn't make you feel good, then stay away from it for a while. You know, you
So,
don't need to watch all of this because all you need is inspiration. And if you're inspired, then you have all you need to progress.
so do you think then things like, for example, Instagram, do you think that can be quite damaging to an aspiring drummer?
Yes, I think so.
And
It's both. It's both, right? It is amazing that there's all this information available, maybe not only Instagram. And I think you can tell that nowadays younger drummers are a lot, they do have a lot more knowledge about stuff. But it's also harder to develop your own sound and your own voice because it's all, everything is there already. So you don't have to walk or maybe walk your own path. You don't have
yes,
to do that. And that makes it harder. So, and then I guess there's a lot of pressure on younger drummers to also have a great Instagram persona.
it's a shop window, isn't it?
Yeah. And though, so I think, um, yeah, it's always good to stay calm and relaxed when you want to play music. There's some, of course, there's some styles of music where, you don't want to stay calm. You need to be aggressive, for
Yeah.
example, but you need to be emotional in some way.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, and fear is not a good emotion, I think.
No, I completely agree. So talking about young drummers, in particular, take me back to when you were little, Jost,
Yeah.
and you saw a drum kit for the first time. You saw somebody playing drums for the first time. Can you remember that specific memory? And if so, what was it that turned you on to the drums, and who was
I
it?
I think it wasn't a certain person. In the beginning, it was just the instrument, like the looks of the instrument, and the I don't know, I just found it very beautiful and very attractive to see a drum kit. And I remember just going to stores in town to just watch the kits, to just look at the kits and
Yeah.
see them, and then if I saw like a band perform on TV, I would always check out the kit and the setup and which multi-clamp is there and what kind of series is this. And so this was probably first, and then it was more the sensation of playing, which I really
Mm.
liked when I got my first kit. And then
And How
the
old how
first
old were you at that time?
when I started, I was 10 years old. So some people consider that quite old already.
Mhm.
I don't know. And then I think the first drummer that I really, really, really liked and who was really good also was Omar Hakim, who I heard on Sting's first solo record.
Mhm.
That was the first time I heard him. And so I think he was the first drummer that I tried to really understand beyond not only like it felt good, but I really wanted to know what does he play there. So
Was
how does this work? And what stickings are these? And of course, I didn't know. I just had to, you know, you get a sound or an idea or like an impression of somebody's playing, and then you try to come up with a similar expression without knowing the sticking. It's
Mhm.
kind of, it's a great adventure to do that.
So, what are your thoughts then on sight reading? Do you think that it's important for drummers to sight read, or is the drums a reflex instrument?
No, I think it's very, very, very good if you are able to read lead sheets. So as
Mhm.
drummers, we normally don't get written out parts. There might be like a groove, or maybe just a style, and
Yeah.
then some kicks. But it's to me or to my career, it was very important that I'm able to also not only read read lead sheets, but also write them. And this really helped me a lot through gigs where there was no rehearsal or auditions where there was little time to prepare. And so yeah, I think it's important. Yeah. And
So,
also reading helps a lot when you want to practice because then you can write down ideas and you can also practice more effectively, I think.
and you find in a band scenario when you're working with other artists,
Mhm.
it's if you're speaking from a piece of music written down or some sheet music, that it makes that communication much more easier for you.
Yeah, it's easier because then I we can talk about like sections in the song, for example. We can
Mm,
say like let's repeat the middle eight or let's repeat the second verse, and you always know, everybody knows
exactly. Yeah.
what you're talking about. But when you're in a band and you're more like creating your own music, then
Hmm.
I think it's most of the time there's no lead sheets, right? It's really
Hmm.
the creative process, and you don't need any
Yes.
lead sheets. But if it's more like a gig where you're hired, then it's more common to have to be able to read.
So, I'm trying to ask you as many questions as I possibly can because I know that over the 18th and 19th of October at the ACC Liverpool, everyone's going to be watching you play in Mike Johnston's education room. We're probably going to have so many questions. But obviously, over that weekend, you're sharing the stage with not only Mike Johnston himself, but also Dexter Hercules, the drummer for Ed Sheeran, and also Jay Postones from Tesseract.
Yeah.
Obviously, from a drummer's perspective, there is nothing better than being filled in a room with other drummers. What do you think it is about the drumming community that's so vibrant and exciting and transparent and fun?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the reason has to lie in the instrument. It can't be the people because there's so many different people playing drums, and some are nice and some are not. And I think the instrument is fascinating because you can really see what the person who's playing it does. Well, you
Mm,
don't exactly know what they do, but you can see the arms moving, you can see the legs moving, and I think that makes it really interesting. And then also, drums, I think, are a very satisfying instrument to listen to, even if it's played by itself, because it's just rhythm and groove, and that's a very profound and ancient instinct, I guess, which is
yes.
satisfied by drums.
I often wonder if, really anybody could play drums because we've all got our own internal metronome, which is our heart. And I
Yeah.
often wonder, if, as you say, that instinct, that primal instinct, to lay down even
Yeah.
single stroke rolls. I really believe that kind of anybody could do it if they put the time in.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure. I,
Who knows?
that's your theory. And I was looking for the word when I was just talking, I was looking for the word primal, and you said it, primal instinct. That was the word. I'm sorry, I'm not a native speaker, so I'm trying
No,
my
no,
best.
you've done very, very well.
Oh,
Listen,
thanks.
we are so excited to have you at the ACC Liverpool. What can people expect from your performance on both the 18th and 19th of October in Mike Johnston's room?
So this is really a room about it, like it should be an educational experience. So it's less a performance and more of a educational endeavor. But I love mixing it up. So I definitely want to play because I enjoy it, and I hope people are going to enjoy it too. And also they get to know me as a player when I start by playing a little bit. And then on one day I want to really talk about time, also timing and when you practice versus timing when you play, and so different ways of looking at it, and also various ways of improving your time. And on the other day I would like to talk about fills and conceptual ideas to come up with your own fills. That's the two things I want to
I love
talk
it.
about, and then I'm always open for questions. Really, I
Amazing.
love engaging with the audience. I really love it. Yeah.
Well, if I manage to find time in between hosting the main stage and running into Mike Johnston's education room, I'll definitely come and check out what you guys are doing. Listen, man, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we, really, really excited to have you be part of the UK Drum Show family, and can't wait to see what you bring to the table.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, man.